Good evening, everyone. It's your host, Ben the Man, and I'm here to tell you all my 10th chapter of Pirates of the Caribbean, The Final Voyage. But before we start, I'd just like to say a happy 4th of July to everyone, and I hope everyone have a good holiday. Are y'all ready? Sit back and relax, and let's get started. Chapter 10, Freedom and Rescue. Many miles away, on a different other side of the island, and Angelica and her zombie crew already ready to head into their own path of the cave, which led them through hundreds of tide pools, but also volcano tar-like pools. As Angelica and her crew grabbed everything that they needed, Angelica muttered to herself and looked up at the volcano and said, "I'm coming, Father. We're getting close. I'll bring you back. I'm on my way, Father." And then she felt a hand on her shoulder, and as she looked up, she saw it was Scarface. He wondered if she was okay. Trying not to show off emotions, Angelica wiped the tears off her face, and then she said, "Yes, I'm fine." Scarfield helped Angelica up to her feet, put another hand on her other shoulder, and said, "I know what it's like for you to lose someone that you love. I feel your pain." Couldn't help but smile. Angelica pulled Scarface close to her face, and he gave a horrific, horrifying kiss. As the kissing stopped, Angelica smiled and said, "You're a good royal mate, Scarface, and we will both get what we want as soon as I bring my father back and destroy Jack's spell once and for all. But for right now, all I need you to do is stay on the ship with a few men and to make sure our prisoners on the ship won't escape. Will you do that for me?" Trying not to blush after the kiss, Scarface stood firm and said, "Aye, Captain." Then Angelica gave a soft tap on Scarfield's face, and she commanded a vast group of the zombie crew to go inside the volcano. As they disappeared inside the jungle, Scarface, along with a few other zombie crew members, are heading inside the ship to check on Will, Henry, Gibbs, and the others. But just as when they got on, they were surprised that they were waiting for them, with pistols and swords. Scarfield's face, which is full of scars, glowed bright red, and then he said, "I don't know how you men managed to escape, but I assure you that none of you will escape this ship alive. Once the captain gets what she wants, she's going to destroy everything and everyone around the world, and there will be nothing left but me, her, and her father." Will and the others hold their ground, and Will said, "I wouldn't count on it, Scarface." Scarfield grabbed his sword and gave the command to attack. They all charged towards one another, and they all fought. Swords clashed, pistols fired as the fight went on and on. Will took on Scarface while Henry, Gibbs, and the others took on the rest of the crew. The battle started to get more intense as the zombies proved to be unkillable. Even with a shot or a stroke with the sword on their heads, they kept coming back up and trying to strike down their opponents. Will and Scarface continued on fighting, but Will managed to grab another sword and sliced Scarfield in the eye. Scarface groaned in pain, and then as he looked at Will, a huge scar was showing across his face, and it was glowing bright red. And as Scarface touched it, his hand started to glow, and he released a powerful force, like some kind of energy, and punched it on Will on the chest, and Will went flying across all the way into the captain's cabin. Will was yelling in pain, and as he looked, his chest was burning. He managed to stop it in time before it started to get a lot worse. Scarface came into the cabin and said, "You know, you really are a poor, sorry excuse of a pirate. You see, every time you get cut, or scarred, or even stabbed, my body glows bright red with some energy. And once it happens, I place it on my hand. I release it onto one of my victims, and they burn alive in the inside. But I'm surprised you managed to stop it. I am even more surprised that you're actually one of the first people that managed to stop my touch before it could tear you apart in the inside. Will tried to scramble up to his feet as he was still in pain and that he hurt his foot. Scarface is ready to attack Will. As Will tried to scramble up to his feet, he started to look around and saw that every bookshelf is filled with some strange magical artifacts. And then he saw a giant gold-looking pot with a handle on top. He squinted his eyes and he was trying to see what the cauldron was called. It was called the Vanishing Cauldron. And then a bright idea came up to his mind. Scarface was just about ready to stab Will with his sword, but Will reacted quickly, grabbed the cauldron, and the cauldron suddenly started to glow and released a powerful blast inside the cabin, and the whole cabin exploded. Henry, Gibbs, and the others, along with the zombies, stopped fighting as the explosion happened, and as the smoke cleared, Will was standing up to his feet. And then Will grabbed the cauldron again and did exactly the same thing what he did with Scarface, and opened some suction-like energy that was pulling the zombies inside the cauldron, and then it all just stopped once they all went inside. Gibbs and the others cheered for their victory. Will dropped the cauldron, and then Henry went up to his father, was wondering if he was okay with the burn and his injured foot. Will assured Henry that he was fine, and then he made a short speech and said, "Today, men, once we go inside this volcano, there is no turning back. Once we rescue Elizabeth and Carina, we stop Davy Jones and destroy the well and get out of here once and for all, before it's too late. Are you men with me for one last final battle?" All the men cheered and roared in agreement. They all jumped off the ship and all raced inside the jungle in the same direction where Angelica and her crew were heading into. But they didn't notice, as they left, that there was some movement across the rubble. The rumbling started to get louder and louder. And then the body of Scarface was rising up from the rubble, and his white skin, filled with red glowing scars, started to grow brighter and brighter. Scarface gave a horrifying look with an angry grin, saw Will and the others heading inside the jungle, and then he muttered to himself, "Oh, this isn't over, Turner. This is not over." And that is the end of Pirates of the Caribbean, The Final Voyage, Chapter 10. What do you guys think of it so far? Do you like it? Please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more notifications of videos, shorts, and posts in the future, and also to help me reach over 100 or more subscribers. Hope you have a good splendid day. Hope you all have a good 4th of July. God bless.